What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, Duke did sign a 4-star point guard in Jaylen Blakes. He looks like a good guy. A lot of people are considering him a hidden gem. So we'll see what he can do, what he can add to the 2021 class coming in the fall. Then Isaiah Mobley of USC decided to test out the NBA waters, but he is not hiring an agent. So if he doesn't like where he's going to get drafted, he can return. So we'll see how that turns out. Then Isaiah White, the small forward for USC basketball, has decided to return to USC for his extra year of eligibility. Played a lot better down the stretch than in the beginning. So hopefully he can continue to get better. Then ex-USC and Chargers offensive lineman Chris Brown sadly passed away over the weekend. As of right now, we don't know the cause of his death, but yes, really bad, tragic. Hopefully we get some answers at some point, but yes, as I mentioned, ex-USC and Chargers player. Then USC second string quarterback Mo Hassan has torn his ACL after finally getting some playing time. Sucks, but the second string is most likely going to be a freshman in Jackson Dart or Miller Moss, who did okay, but they did struggle during Saturday's game. Then defensive tackle Brandon Peely has suffered a torn Achilles. According to Coach Clay Helton, he did have a successful surgery, but he is most likely going to be out this whole entire year coming up. So we'll see if he is able to return next season or he has to go to the NFL. But yeah, overall, tough break for him. Then many of the Chargers players are deciding to sit out of these off-season workouts just because of COVID, and they figure that last year they did really well staying at home and still learning stuff and kept their bodies fresh throughout the whole year, even though some of them did suffer some random injuries as well during the season. But I don't know, we'll see how this turns out. Then the Lakers reserves did beat the Jazz reserves the other day in overtime. It was a lot better game than what it should have been when it's the second strings going at it. But yes, luckily Lakers are able to get the victory. They did lose the next game to the same team, but I think they get the Mavericks tonight, and that they could get Anthony Davis returning for the first time in a while, so that's always a good thing. Then the Lakers won't visit the White House because of obviously COVID regulations, and they might have to sit out games and stuff if they get any contact, and just scheduling conflicts as well, so might as well just save it for another time. Then Vernon Carey Jr., ex-Duke player who was drafted by the Hornets, finally got his first start, had 20 plus points and 10 plus rebounds. Even the coach says they're going to look at him more throughout the rest of the year, which is about 15-20 games, so we'll see what he can do the rest of the year. Then Jason Tatum once again had 40 plus points, ended up with 44 and 10 rebounds. I don't know if his team won that game, but they've been kind of up and down with the losing streak here and there, even though he's performing very well. It's a good sign for him, but I don't know if his team needs to make a trade at some point in the offseason, because he is doing his part for his team. Then Amon-Ra St. Brown, the USC wide receiver heading into the draft, is considered a draft sleeper. A lot of people believe he's going to be a great wide receiver, but he isn't going to be picked high enough to be able to earn that accolade right away. He will be under the radar. So probably a third or fourth round, which sucks because he definitely deserves to be late first, early second, in my opinion. Then a lot of people have been mocking a cornerback from South Carolina and J.C. Horn to the Chargers before the draft. I don't mind it because he did beat up one of my favorite wide receivers last year in college, Seth Williams of Auburn. Had like 3 interceptions against him in that game and did really well. He's a good man-to-man defender, which is what Brandon Staley likes to run. So could be a good overall fit, but unless one of the top tackles is there, that's where the Chargers should go, in my opinion. Then Kobe's Nike deal wasn't renewed by his wife. I know before his passing, he did want to, start his own basketball shoe line and help out a lot of the players as well. I don't know if that's still in the works or not, but yeah, a lot of people were kind of saddened the fact they won't get new Kobe shoes, but there are still a lot of shoes out there. And if you believe in conspiracy theories with him and Nike, then I guess you have your mind made up. And I think I forgot to get it, but yes, Henry Coleman of Duke, the power forward, also is entering the transfer portal. Hasn't decided if he's going to leave yet or not. He's looking at his options, but he was a talented guy coming into Duke, and I don't know, he just never panned out, in my opinion. Didn't get much playing time, but when he didn't really show his 4-star status. So good luck to him, whatever happens. Then USC had their spring football game last weekend. Ended up being 27-7. They just mixed up first and second teamers, but what really showed out is the defense, especially safeties and corners. They had, I think, like 3, 4, or 5 interceptions overall. I think a linebacker had an interception as well. It just, a lot of times they were mixing up the offensive line, which kind of hurt them a lot of times. But yeah, the quarterback play was pretty inconsistent as well, especially from Keaton Slovis, who is considered a top guy, especially when it comes to next year's draft. They have him in the top 5, but he's actually like top 4 overall prospect from the quarterback position. And of course, the player who is ahead of him as a quarterback is JT Daniels, my favorite ex-USC quarterback, who's out there in Georgia, who did have a great spring game himself, and looks like he's going to be like a top 1 or 2 pick of quarterbacks in next year's draft, depending how he plays. But yes, of course, USC has to choose the dumber, less competent of the quarterbacks and be scared of a little injury. But oh well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, you know, Slovis figures it out. Said he was really more nervous last year than his freshman year. So of all the hype, you're gonna have a lot of hype again, and it's the same thing that's gonna happen. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.